That's me in 6th grade. Yeah, I was a real looker back then. My parents liked to take me out and do all this wilderness stuff, like camping. I hated it. I was always very conscious about my weight, and I didn't like to be out in the wilderness. I did like animals, however. This is me communing with a rooster. The only thing I remember about this picture is that when they took it, I was sucking in my cheek so I wouldn't look as fat. And it didn't really work. The rooster was not impressed. Well, I would have been okay getting through 6th grade, but then in middle school, the only thing I really liked to read were the things I wasn't supposed to read, like comic books. My uncles had this fantastic collection of comics, and these are some of them. And you'll notice we've got Circe the Sorcerer turning Superman into a lion. And we have Thor and Odin in the Mighty Thor comics. Already I was getting into mythology. But then something terrible happened. It was called middle school. That is a page from my 8th grade high school yearbook, and those are my teachers. Can you tell why I thought that middle school teachers might be monsters in disguise? A pretty scary bunch of folks. The only thing worse than the teachers were the other students. Those are my peers at the junior school in San Antonio, Texas. Little did I know that my future wife is on this page. That's her right there. That's Becky. And you notice how she wrote next to this guy's name, Foxy. That's not me. That's me. Nobody called me Foxy. I don't know why. The only good thing about hating middle school for me was that it made me want to retreat from reality. And that may not sound like a good thing, but back then, guys, we didn't have anything. No internet, no smartphone, no video, no cable television, no video games. The only thing I had was Pong. That was it. And so, if I wanted to retreat from reality, I had two options. One, the great outdoors. I hated that. And two, reading. I hated that too. I decided I hated reading a little bit less. So I started reading some stuff, and I actually found some books that I liked. It was called the Lord of the Rings series. That was okay. I liked that stuff. It was enough like comic books that I really dug that. Then I found out that one of the English teachers in 8th grade at my school had done her master's thesis on the Lord of the Rings. And she wasn't my teacher, of course. They didn't give me the good teachers. But I said, oh man, I gotta get into her class. There was only one problem. She taught honors English. Nobody was ever gonna put me in honors English. My grades were not that great. I tried anyway. I went to my regular English teacher. I said, I have to get into Mrs. Patz's class. I really want to be in her class. She does mythology and Lord of the Rings. And so the teacher gave me a test. One day in class, she called on me for the first time to see how good I was. She looked in the back row and was like, well, Rick, please tell the class what irony is. And I just got this blank look on my face, and I said, irony is the fact that I can't think of the definition of irony right now. Fortunately, she bought it, and I got honors English. And there's Mrs. Patz. She was the first person that got me writing. I wrote a story for her called Appointment with an Archangel, which was about a guy who dies and goes to heaven. She said, Rick, this is really good. You got to try to get it published. And so we sent it off to the magazines. I thought I was going to get rich and famous. It was immediately rejected, but I kept trying. Before our first son was born. There he is. He's cute, I know. Now, his name is Haley, and I know you're probably thinking, wait, isn't Haley a girl's name? Well, it's not actually. It's an Irish boy's name that means ingenious. But, like a lot of Irish boys' names, like Riley and Kelly and Carrie, it was eventually turned into a girl's name. We didn't know that the year he was born, Haley would suddenly become the most popular girl's name of all time. So, sorry, buddy. But as you can tell, he didn't really care. He's always been a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. I did a lot of reading with him, hoping that he would turn into a bigger reader than me. Unfortunately, it wasn't so. Haley was trouble with a capital H. He doesn't look like trouble, does he? No, he looks like a nice kid, but boy, was he trouble. One time, he had a bowl of Cheerios, and we used to have this floor vent for the furnace. He took some Cheerios, he dumped it in there, and it caught fire. So I I went in the kitchen and I got the fire extinguisher. I ran in and put it out. And we were like screaming and running around and smoke was going. And Haley was like, cool. The next day, he decided that was so awesome, he wanted to do it again. He took a big hamper full of laundry. And he dumped it on the vent. And then he went over to the thermostat and set it to 100. I came into the room, flames were coming out, my laundry's on fire. He was going, That's my son, folks. But that was okay, too. Until Haley got into school, and that didn't work out so well. He didn't like reading, he didn't like homework. We got him tested, it turns out he's ADHD. Well, who would have guessed, right? And he's also dyslexic, he has a lot of trouble with reading. So of course, he didn't like school. He didn't like reading. I said, buddy, isn't there anything that you like? Anything that I can read you at home to keep you interested? He said, well, we're doing this one unit, it's okay. It's on Greek myths. I said, hey, I love mythology. I know that stuff. There's Haley in his Greek mythology unit. They had to do a wax museum. He's Hades. They had these little buttons in front of them, so you would come and press the button, and he was supposed to say his line. I am Hades, lord of the underworld, blah, blah, blah. And so I started telling him stories about Greek mythology. And when I ran out, I decided to make up some new ones set in the modern day.